He never expected that one stormy night would change his entire life. If anyone had told him that a simple act of kindness could bring both danger and a miracle, he would have laughed. But fate has a way of choosing the most broken people for the most extraordinary stories. Before we go any further, if you believe that even the smallest good deed deserves something beautiful in return, make sure to subscribe, because this story might just restore your faith in humanity. Ethan Cole had been a single father for 5 years, ever since his wife passed away in childbirth. Raising little Emma alone was the hardest thing he ever faced. He worked long hours repairing cars at a small auto shop in a forgotten corner of town, barely earning enough to cover rent, groceries, and Emma's asthma medication. Some nights he would sit beside her tiny bed listening to her breathe, terrified that if he looked away she might stop. She was all he had left. The rain that night was relentless. The wind howled like a wild creature trying to tear the world apart. Ethan tightened his worn jacket as he left the shop, exhaustion weighing on his shoulders. His boss had told him earlier that week that hours might be cut again. If that happened, he didn't know how he would feed Emma. He kept walking, head down, trying not to think about the future. Then he saw a car pulled over on the roadside, hazard lights blinking, smoke coming from the hood. A woman inside clearly panicking. He hesitated. It was late. The storm was getting worse. But then he imagined Emma, stranded somewhere with no one to help. He couldn't ignore it. He approached slowly and tapped on the window. The woman startled, then rolled it down a crack. She was drenched in tears, not just from the rain. Something inside her was breaking. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. "I'm a mechanic. I might be able to help." Her hands trembled. "Please. My car just died. My phone has no signal. I'm trying to get away from—" She stopped, eyes filled with fear. "Can you help me?" Ethan nodded, lifting the hood. The engine was flooded, nothing he could fix right there in the storm. "I can't repair this now, but I live just a few minutes away. You can wait out the storm and call a tow in the morning." She hesitated, fear in her eyes again, as if trusting a stranger scared her, but staying alone in the darkness scared her even more. She finally nodded. Inside Ethan's small apartment, Emma peeked shyly from behind the couch. Ethan introduced her, and slowly the woman relaxed. Her name was Lila. She thanked him again and again, unable to stop shaking. "Are you running from something?" Ethan asked quietly after Emma fell asleep. "It's not something. It's someone," she whispered. "A man who thinks he owns me." She pulled back her sleeve, revealing bruises that made Ethan's stomach twist. He wanted to protect her, to comfort her, but he also felt a wave of fear. Whoever she was escaping from might come looking. Lila drifted to sleep on the couch. Ethan stayed awake, watching the storm and listening to Emma breathe. He prayed that tomorrow would bring safety, but tomorrow brought hell. At sunrise, harsh fists pounded on the door. A deep voice roared from outside. "Lila, open this door!" Ethan's blood turned to ice. He motioned for Lila to stay silent. Emma clung to his leg, trembling. The pounding grew louder. The door shook. Ethan thought it might break. "I know she's in there," the voice thundered. "You think you can hide her from me? I will end you." Ethan grabbed his old phone and dialed the police with shaking hands, but it would take time for them to arrive. The man outside grew more furious, kicking the door like a battering ram. Ethan rushed Lila and Emma into the bedroom. He pushed a dresser against the door and held Emma tight as she cried. "I'm so sorry," Lila wept. "I never should have involved you." Ethan looked into her terrified eyes. "You didn't involve me. I chose to help you, and I'd make that choice again." The police sirens finally echoed in the distance. The man cursed and fled. Ethan didn't relax until officers were inside, and the house felt safe again. They filed a report and promised protection, but he saw doubt in their eyes. Men like that didn't give up easily. In the days that followed, Lila stayed with them. She and Emma bonded like they had known each other forever. Lila cooked meals, read bedtime stories, and helped keep the apartment warm with laughter Ethan hadn't heard in years. For the first time in forever, he felt something like happiness. But the danger hadn't disappeared. It lurked in the shadows. One evening, Ethan returned home to find the living room destroyed, the window shattered. A knife dug into the wall with a note, "You should have stayed out of it." Lila fell apart in his arms. Ethan felt rage burn inside him. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't strong, but he would fight for his family, because that's what they had become. He took them to a safe shelter recommended by the police. It wasn't much, but at least there were locks, cameras, and other families who understood fear. Life slowly settled into a new rhythm. Lila got a job at a bakery. Emma adored her and kept calling her Mama Lila, and Lila never corrected her. Ethan noticed the way she would smile, tears shimmering every time she heard it. Months passed. Slowly, the man who hunted her seemed to fade into the past. There were no more threats, no more fear, just hope. One beautiful morning, on Emma's 6th birthday, Ethan confessed what had been building inside his heart. They were sitting in the park after giving Emma her birthday cupcake. "I was scared to say this," he whispered, "but I don't want you to ever leave. You are family now, and I—" Before he could finish, Lila kissed him softly. Happy tears fell down her cheeks. "You saved my life," she said. "You saved my heart." Ethan smiled with a warmth he thought he'd never feel again. They hugged, and Emma jumped into their arms, giggling with joy. But peace doesn't always last. That night, as laughter filled the apartment, a loud crash came from outside. A dark figure appeared through the broken door. Lila froze. Ethan stood up quickly, shielding Emma. "You thought you could hide her forever?" the man growled. But this time, Ethan wasn't alone. Lila stepped forward, voice strong. "I'm not yours anymore. I'm not afraid of you." The man lunged toward her, but police burst in behind him. They tackled him to the ground, cuffs snapping around his wrists. It was over, truly over. Lila collapsed into Ethan's arms, shaking but free. Later, they learned the police had been watching him, building a case, tracking him for months. Ethan's earlier report helped bring justice. Life finally rewarded their courage. A year later, in a small sunlit church, Ethan stood at the altar with Emma beside him, wearing a tiny white dress decorated with flowers she picked herself. The doors opened, and Lila walked down the aisle, no longer scared, no longer hunted, beautiful, brave, home. Ethan's hands trembled as he held hers. "I used to think my life was over," he said, "but you showed me it was just beginning." Emma rushed between them, and they all laughed as the minister declared them a family. A real family, not broken, not afraid, stronger than any storm, and all because a poor single dad stopped to help a stranger on a rainy night, choosing kindness when the world gave him every reason not to. Now, as their new life begins, their story reminds us that love sometimes arrives in the darkest moments, disguised as someone who simply needs help. And sometimes the person you save ends up saving you right back.